Here comes Mr. Nobody walking down the... Hello, everybody. So, a while back, I got a message from somebody about my PA video where I talked about switching the DP32 so that you could use it on a PA system. And they said to me, and I quote, "No disrespect, but you're wrong." And then they went on to explain something which is correct. And it was something which was brought up. I did a live chat shortly after that one, and someone else said, "Hey, you can also do it this way." And so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to redo what I did. If you want to watch that video, I will put a link here where my finger is to that video. I'll also include it in the comments, like in my description of the video. If you want to watch that one again and refresh yourself. And I'll just do a quick overview of what it was, which is, and I'm just going to go over here. What my concept is to go into the assign thing. I'll clear that for a second. Assign tracks 1 to 8, or how many you need, to your board. So move back a bit, down here onto this. Turn on record so you can hear them, and then that gives you what you're used to using, and that was my way of getting around the issue. And this guy said, "No disrespect, but you're wrong. This is how I would do it." And so I'm going to now talk about how that is, or what that is. So it's pretty much, it's an easier way of doing it. You're going around the record button and using the bottom half of your board here. You're going around it completely. And what you're doing is you're going into the stereo bus. So I'm going to click the stereo select button. You can do this by stereo select. You can do it by the jog button. I'm not going to argue about how you get there. I just hit stereo select because that's the easiest way to get down. Now I'm going to arm the tracks. So now I've armed the tracks. Now that means that all of them are now going through the output. I'm not going to bother showing this. It is going through the output. We've talked about this before. So now to play with these. So let me just see if I can slide over and show both here. Okay, so to play with these ones now, these are now your faders. Okay. And your mixing stuff is in the mixer, so you would go and you hit the source button, so you're on input A, for instance, and you would fiddle with here your mixing set. So like your pre's, whatever you intend to do, this is what you're going to do. You're going to use this. You're going to use this as your mixer. You can then do your panning and all that stuff. So you don't need your board. You don't need this part of the board where my hand is at all. And yes, it works great. It does. I'm not going to argue with it. The lovely part about this is you can actually create, if you do this a lot, you can create a file, or you can create a song file, and your settings for this, as long as you always set it up the same way, are already done. You never have to touch it again. You load up that file or that song, and you're all ready to go. All you got to do is play with your gains to set your faders. Now, my biggest complaint about this way, it's a great way of doing it, and I never say to anybody you're wrong, because there are so many different ways of doing things, and this is a different way of doing it. So that's where I'm getting at, and I don't think this is wrong. My thing is that what I don't like about this way is that I lose a lot of things that I can play with that I can't if I have it set up. Like if I have it set up the way that I do it, I have more control. Like for instance, these up here, they're nice, but I'd rather use them as what they're for, which in this case is trims, than to use them as faders, because that's what you're doing. You're literally replacing these with faders. Now granted, you do have the fader in here too that you can play with. Now if you're looking at this and wondering why is it all weird, because this is still set up for when I did the other one. So if we look at F, this is how it would be normally set up if you looked at it, and where A is doing that, where I was showing how to use the effects loops, like multiple inputs and that. I'm not going to worry about that. So that's the one thing. So you're getting kind of a trade-off here. So yes, like with mine, it's a little more work. You have to hit record afterwards. But once again, you can do the same thing. You could save it as a file and call it PA system or PA, and then just all you do is just turn on your record buttons, and then you play with your faders and get your stuff all set up. But it's your choice. Now, for me being like knowing how most people's brains work, if I'm doing something for a band and I'm doing sound for them and I'm using my DP32, I'm more likely, just because out of convenience, to use the faders. Like really, that's because that's what they're there for. It's just easier for me to say, okay, vocals, turn up the vocals, he's too quiet, than me to go, oh yeah, turn the vocals up here. This is much easier for me to deal with. That's my opinion on this. So that's but once again, it's how you want to do it. But yeah, so for me, the faders is nice. Also, if I have something like I have the mute button on all the time. If somebody's, I want to cut somebody else, like let's say somebody's guitar is squealing and I can see it on the thing, I can just go there. You're muted for a second. Let's cut it. That way I can fix it or I can fade it out quickly. Whereas this is a little more work to do. It's like I said, it's still a good idea. But yeah, there are little things that I just don't like about it. And once again, I would never say to somebody, no, you're wrong. That's not the way to do it. I would say, well, here's an alternative way. I'm not mad about the you're wrong. I thought it was kind of funny because it was like, okay, oh, well, no disrespect, but you're wrong. Okay, that's fine. It made me laugh when I saw it. I'm like, okay, I can be wrong too. But yeah, so I just wanted to discuss that, to show this one. This is so that you have other ways of seeing it. And and then those are my reasons, because most people will gravitate more to the regular mixing board style than for little knobs. But that's my opinion. So thanks again for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. 'Cause he's got pride, 'cause he's got the